And welcome in. It's Catfish on Ice, episode 296. Long break between episodes, everybody. But you know what? The Preds are on a long extended break right now, so we figured we'd take one as well. But we are back tonight with what I would call a really wacky offseason idea. Me and Max, we're going to draft our all-time Nashville Predators starting lineup, so 19 players. And we are going to use it with my rules that I came up with for each round. So you can't just draft straight through every player that's played on this team. There's certain rules and criteria that me and Max will have to follow in each round based on who we want to draft out of the Nashville Predators history. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we will compare our teams. At the end, I will put out a poll on the Catfish on Ice official Twitter account, and people can vote on who had the better team, me or Max, who would win in a 7-game series with these hypothetical all-time ultimate Preds lineups. It's going to be a lot of fun. Some of these rounds have very interesting rules, and to be fair to Max, he's only seen the rules for the first 9 rounds.
Yep.
Rounds 10 to 19 to fill out our starting lineups, he does not know. So he's already at a disadvantage. There's no crazy weird rules here or anything like that. But it's going to be fun. And as we get deeper into the draft, it's definitely going to get a little bit more tricky for us to scramble around and pick who we want. I was supposed to have a quarter to flip to see who gets to pick first. So let me do that real quick.
All right. Well, Chad goes and gets his quarter. We're here, and he's right back. Didn't have to wait at all.
I got my quarter.
There you go.
But before we do the ceremonial coin flip to see who picks first, we are also going to tell you about everything else we're talking about tonight. We are presented by DraftKings, of course. We'll tell you about the promo code with THPN right now going on for you to get in on the action there. And what else were we talking about? Oh, yeah, the GM search that keeps dragging on. And I've been doing a lot of research on this going into it tonight. And, I mean, all the analysts are saying here that it's directly tied to the remaining teams. But you know what? The Colorado Avalanche just got eliminated. Got swept, Max.
Yeah.
This is why you don't even waste your time predicting the Stanley Cup playoffs every year and what you think is going to happen. Who saw the Colorado Avalanche getting swept? I mean, I remember even some Preds fans saying, man, let's go for that. Let's go for wild card 1 so we can play Vegas because we can beat Vegas. I remember those Preds fans saying that stuff.
I felt that way more about Anaheim, although they were neck and neck with Vegas. I didn't quite feel that way about Vegas or Edmonton even.
But either way, really hard to predict the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. And we've got Carolina and Montreal going to town on Game 4 right now. And Carolina is already up 3-0 in that game. Montreal has been a great story. They're one of the youngest teams in the league. And they have arrived, and even if they do fall short in this series and don't make the Stanley Cup final, what a season it's been for the Montreal Canadiens. Fun team to watch. I've enjoyed watching them play. I've been kind of pulling for them, honestly. I think that'd be cool to see Canada finally get one back. Be good for the sport. But right now, it's looking like Carolina is going to cruise to a 3-1 series lead, unless Montreal makes a really, really strong comeback in this game.
There's still time.
There is time. You're right. And I give Montreal as good of a chance as anyone to make a comeback like that because they've got the skill, they've got the talent. So we'll see what happens.
Well, to push back a little what you said, Chad, they have struggled to get shots on goal.
And they struggled to get shots. You know what's crazy? They struggled to get shots on goal in the first round against Tampa. I watched every second of that series.
They had one shot on goal between the third period and overtime of last game. The fact they made it that far is crazy.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye on it. Carolina, everyone kind of expected them to be this far. Vegas, still Vegas.
Yep.
So
Unfortunately,
if we get a Vegas Carolina Stanley Cup, I mean, I'll be into it. I'll watch it.
what it's looking like right now.
We got to talk about Yegor Surin, back-to-back KHL champion now, with what I thought was crazy. I just shared my thoughts about it because I thought it was so ironic. Ended up blowing up. Got a lot of feedback on X on that. A lot of retweets, a lot of comments. I thought it was so crazy and just full circle type of moment. If you're an old school Preds fan, to see Yegor Surin celebrating with Alexander Radulov,
That is crazy.
who was drafted in 2004. 30. Radulov's 39 now. And that was a crazy full circle moment if you're an old school Preds fan, to see one of your top prospects playing in Russia right now. We know how good the KHL is. We know that's probably the second best league in the world behind the NHL. And Yegor Surin is doing some really incredible things at such a young age, as hasn't even hit age 20 yet.
Crazy.
He's a back-to-back KHL champion, scores 2 goals in the decisive game. He's got that moxie about him. He's got that attitude. And I'm telling you right now, I remember Alexander Radulov had that attitude. He still does.
For better or worse.
But, I wrote an article on Predlines talking about that ugly breakup. Kind of maybe gave a little bit of a fun little history lesson maybe to the newer fans of the franchise that weren't even around during those years. It was a very, very dramatic, ugly breakup. Makes you wonder what could have been. The fact the guy's still playing highly competitive hockey at age 39. But he bounced back between the KHL and the NHL multiple times. Had a long little stint there with the Dallas Stars, stuck the dagger in the heart to some Preds fans during those times. And now he's back in the KHL and he's still playing. He's still winning championships. And so crazy stuff there. But we're going to talk, me and Max are going to talk about who are our current Preds prospects who we're most excited about. And also, is Yegor Surin now the top prospect right now in the Preds prospect pool based on what he is proving at such a young age in such a talented, difficult league that the KHL is? That's a very fair question to ask. So we'll talk about that, especially when we're talking about the Preds rebuilding right now. Likely the prospect pool has a massive spotlight on it now. Yep. So we will get into that. And we got to talk also about Adam Wilsby. Is he becoming expendable? Max has a lot of thoughts about that. And, I can't wait for that. We will wing it on some of our topics tonight as well. But with that said, Max, let's go ahead and do this coin flip. I picked a really strange quarter here. It's like all beat up to hell. But, all right, heads. What do you want to take, Max? I'm going to give you the floor. What are you taking?
I'm going to go tails.
You're going to go tails.
Yep.
This is for the first pick in our ultimate all-time Predators lineup draft. All right,
here we go.
I'm going to let it fall on the table. Okay. To be fair, I'm going to put it on camera. Such a messed up quarter. I can't even tell what it is. Oh, okay. Well, okay. It is heads.
It is heads.
Tell,
all right.
Really. You can't tell.
I really can't tell, but I trust
you. I get the first pick. And the way we're doing this again, I will read the rules for each round before we pick. All right. First round is very straightforward. Any player from any era, current or past.
All right.
And even though I got the first overall pick, I do kind of got to think about this a little bit. Do I take Pecorine, the easy choice, or do I take Shea Weber? I'm really torn between those two players right now because I already know who Max is going to take. He's going to take the player I don't take out of those two.
Yeah, I think likely.
So, you know what? I'm such a goalie strong person. I'm going to go ahead and just get it out of the way. The Preds ultimate all-time lineup, first overall pick for Catfish and Ice is going to be the man who has the statue out in front of Bridgestone Plaza, the man who built this franchise into being a respected franchise for all those years. He never got a Stanley Cup. He did have some playoff moments where he he kind of choked a little bit. But the Nashville Predators don't become a perennial playoff team and don't become who they were. President's Trophy, the Stanley Cup final run, but all the years leading up to the Stanley Cup final run, he was insane. The days of the save percentages that he was putting up during those years are long gone. I mean, just look at the goalie year we just had around the league. So I really thought about Shea Weber for a second there. But my first overall pick, I've already got my goalie picked. It's going to be Pekka Rinne.
All right.
On the all-time Preds lineup. So now Max gets to make his pick.
So I slightly kind of responded wrong to what you said a second ago. I'm actually going to go with the guy you don't not like
you can pick any player. You can pick any player.
I picked Roman Josi.
Okay.
Yeah. You said Shea Weber. I thought about that, but I went with Josi probably because, and both are super important. And obviously you can, I guess not even, I don't know how much of an argument really it is that, the Preds may not be much of a franchise without Shea Weber, but I was over the years, maybe this is a byproduct of me, paying closer and closer attention over my years as they've gone by. But Roman Josi's best years on the Preds, I've just been so blown away by, especially the 2021-22 season, the 2024 or 2023-24, the years that he didn't actually in the Norris, he was still sensational. But the offensive prowess, defensively, he's kind of struggled in his career, but he's still made plays there. And I just think the impact on the game that Josi made was so unbelievable, and I would go with him.
All right.
Yeah.
So this is where the draft gets really interesting. We're not just drafting straight up every round any player we want to pick from the all-time Preds roster pool. No, we have rules for each round. The first round, we could pick anyone out of the list, and I took Pekka Rinne. Max took Roman Josi. We're trying to fill out a 19-player starting lineup. 6 defensemen. We got to pick 4 centers. We got to pick 8 wingers. So it's not, as this draft goes on, we also have to draft for our positions. This is like literally like a fantasy draft.
Yep.
So, all right. So let's go on to the second round here. And now the rule is draft only a player from the expansion team of the Nashville Predators. So with my pick, I'm going to pull up the expansion roster. And as we know, that was one of the most blue-collar teams. Unless we get Johnny in here,
right?
There's going to be a lot of new school Preds fans that probably haven't heard of anyone on this team except for maybe David Legwand. We got Tom Fitzgerald was on this team.
Yep. So was Andrew Burnett.
Andrew Burnett scored the first ever goal.
Player on this team.
There we go. So there actually a lot of new age Preds fans would have heard of some of these players. But I'm going to look over this for a second. I do need a second to think about this because you had Cliff Ronning, who was an elder statesman veteran at the time. He was kind of like the well-known player when the Preds had an expansion team. I'm not going to take Andrew Burnett. Don't worry about that.
I'm not either.
You know who I'm going to take?
Who?
I'm going to take Kimmo Timonen.
Interesting. That was one I was really considering, but I also didn't want to go 2 straight left defensemen.
Very underrated, great defenseman in the history of the Preds. Yep. He is not on Shea Weber's level. He's not on Roman Josi's level. But he is very underrated, and he's very old school, so a lot of the newer Preds fans probably won't appreciate him. But Kimmo Timonen was an excellent defenseman. During that expansion year, not so much. He was 23 years old. He was working his way in. He played 50 games. But as he stuck around with the Predators for a long time. And I will pull up his hockey reference profile so I can get his exact numbers right. Over 1,100 NHL games when it was all said and done. And with his Preds career, 8 years, 573 games. Not a big goal scorer, but still 301 points as a defenseman in this league, especially during those years. It's not like today's NHL, where you got defensemen just flying up and down looking like Terminators. No, that was a very different NHL style where defensemen were not really, but he was a little ahead of his time to still be a offensive defenseman. Very, very disciplined, strong two-way defenseman. Very important pillar of those earlier Predators teams as they started to eventually make the playoffs. Kimmo Timonen's best year offensively with the Preds. He had a few years towards the end where he eclipsed 50-plus points. Again, during those years of the NHL, we're going back 2 decades. It wasn't like it is now with these defensemen like Cal McCarr and Quinn Hughes and these defensemen who are
even
just
Roman Josi.
Roman Josi, of course. So it was a different time. But either way, Kimmo Timonen's my pick. I could have never expected to take Kimmo Timonen with my second pick, but again, with these rules, we're picking from the expansion team only with our second pick. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on my list here. I got Kimmo Timonen as my second pick. So now it's Max's turn.
I want to clarify really quick. Are we seeing any player on that team or just those from the expansion draft?
No, that team from the expansion year.
So any player, okay.
Anyone from the 1998-99 season.
All right. I got to say, I'm kind of surprised you didn't choose a player I'm going to choose, although Timonen would have probably been a close second. I'm going to go David Legwand.
I thought about David Legwand. He was the original Preds draft pick.
Yep, OG player. Not the most offensively prolific, but again, one of those guys who he was consistent, and he's again one of those guys who's part of the reason why the Preds had a team for as long as they did, and that made hockey good in Nashville. Was a fan favorite, was there for a long time, and long-time stalwart. And it makes it a really easy choice since I haven't taken a forward yet. Yeah, it's honestly kind of a no-brainer there.
He did not log a game that season, but I'm still going to allow you to pick him because he was on the team technically. Yep. He was drafted. No, he did. He played one game. My bad. He played one game.
Yeah, he played one game. Yeah, that counts.
He played one game. That counts. I was going to give you –
I feel like Legwand's one of those players worth making a slight exception for anyway.
I was going to give you credit for it either way because he was clearly on the team. Now, do you want to claim him as a center or a winger? That is very important with our exercise.
I'm going to keep him as a center for now, although I reserve the right to change that.
All right. That's fair. You can reserve it later. You can always change it later. All right. So to recap.
I was kind of what you're saying. I was potentially going to move Roman Josi to the right side if I took Kimmo Timonen in there.
Okay.
I was also really sorry. I'm saying a lot here. I was also
you're good.
Take a goaltender because that expansion team had Chris Mason, Mike Dunham, and who else did they have?
Thomas Vokoun came.
Yeah, exactly.
Later.
That was the other one. Yeah, so they had.
Well, but you're in a good position right now. Originally, we were going to have Jordan Manning also doing this draft with us, but he's having Wi-Fi difficulties, unfortunately. So we were going to have a 3-person draft here. It would have made it a lot more tricky. But Max, I don't think you need to take a goalie right now because
I don't want to take a goaltender this.
I've already taken my goalie.
Right.
So you're going to be able to take them whenever you want it. So right now I've got Kimmo Timonen and Pekka Rinne, and Max has got David Legwand and Roman Josi. So there you have it. Let's go to the third round. It gets even more interesting. The rules keep coming. This round, only a player from the season that the Preds went to the Stanley Cup. So 2016, 2017. So let me pull up that roster so I make sure that I can look over a lot more options here. This is going to be a lot more difficult of a pick for both of us because it's kind of an embarrassment of riches in a way.
It really is.
So I'm going to need a little time for this. First of all, before I make my pick, why does it feel like that's already been almost a decade?
I know.
And it's insane because I remember where I was that night that the Preds beat Anaheim and they were going to the Stanley Cup. And, all the old school hockey fans are going to laugh at me and be like, that's so pathetic that people were acting that way. But I can tell you,
that's not pathetic. You made the Cup Finals. That's a big accomplishment.
I was at Fleet Street Pub in Printer's Alley. It's like a British underground pub. So cool.
I've been there before.
And we were down there. It was me and just a few coworkers. We were all down there. We were watching it. And I remember being so nervous. My heart was beating out of my chest. Are we going to be able to close this thing out? Like, I did not want it to go to a game 7. I was so nervous about it going to a game 7. And when I saw that, when Colton Sissons turned into superhuman, and then we closed it out, and it was done deal. We were going to the Stanley Cup. I mean, the owner of this bar, there was probably about 30 people in total in this place at the time. It wasn't crazy busy or anything. And the owner of Fleet Street Pub, or the owner or the bar, I'm assuming it was the owner, bought a round of Jameson for every person. And I'm not a big Jameson. I was more of a Jameson drinker then. I can't drink it now. Those days are behind me. But he bought a shot of Jameson for everyone in the bar, comped it. No one had to pay for it. Everyone in the bar took a shot of Jameson together. It was so cool. Then I remember us back downtown. We were walking around, and everyone was high-fiving. Everyone was hugging each other because it was just like the coolest thing ever. And so it's crazy that's already been a decade ago. Yeah. So that was a very special team, and I'm going to look through it now and make my pick here. So I've already picked a goalie, and I've already picked a defenseman. Looking through this team. So that Stanley Cup season, what's crazy is, and I'm sure a lot of people know this, but that team was not a great regular season team. It barely made the playoffs.
I will say
94 points. 94 points.
That team, though, was predicted. It wasn't a total fluke, because that team was predicted by majority of analysts and stuff. Not majority, but they were preseason a contender to go that far.
They finished fourth in the Central Division, 94 points. You know, Peter Laviolette was, of course, the head coach. Yep. Captain was Mike Fisher. And then they drew the Blackhawks in the first round. And the fact that they swept them is just, oh, my God.
I was at that game 3 when they won in overtime. One of the best games I've ever been to. It was insane.
I remember even when they were up 2-0. I remember when they won 2 in Chicago and we were coming back for game 3. I was still a nervous wreck. I was like, don't screw this up.
My dad was too.
I was like, you have to take care of home ice. You have to take care of home ice. You cannot let these guys come back and steal. Like, I really didn't feel great until it was game 4 and we were up 3-0. That was when I started calming down. But even being up 2-0, stealing both games in Chicago, and going back for game 3 in Nashville, I was still a nervous wreck.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my pick. I got to make it now. All right, so I'm going to Roman Yossi's already off the board.
Yep.
I mean, I have to do it. I got to go Philip Forsberg. I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think that's the right move for you there. There's a few I was debating, but he's the best player in that bunch, so I'm going to go. So yeah, I can't now, but I think that's the right move on your part.
I mean, I was looking at it. I was thinking about making my blue line even stronger, but it's Philip Forsberg. I got to go with him. If I don't take him, you're going to take him. So
I certainly would have.
All right. It's your turn. You still got a lot of good players to choose from.
Yeah.
Matt, so, I mean, a lot of journeymen on that team, though, and a lot of blue collar depth guys on that team.
I could take. Well, I can't take back Arena. You took him. I keep forgetting. We have to keep track of who's being taken.
I know. Well, I've got your list and my list, so I'm keeping track.
UC Saros still is available.
It is, and
this early though, I don't know.
And if you pick him, it counts for his entire career. It's not just that season,
right? Of course,
you're picking him based on what he's done his entire career.
You know what? My gut's telling me, and I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to go Ryan Johansson.
Oh,
yeah.
You're getting yourself another really good center here. So now you've got.
But again, I could still move leg one to the wing, so that's in play too. So that's kind
Ryan Johansson is your center. So
yes, exactly. I was going to potentially go Ryan Ellis, but there are better players there in my opinion. So I didn't go there. So, but yeah, no, I could have also gone Victor Arvidsson, but I do think and I know it's a whole career, but Ryan Johansson was so valuable to that playoff run.
Mhm.
It is such a shame that he got injured early. I mean, who knows if that final could have been different if he were healthy. But yeah, honestly, my gut tells me go with Ryan Johansson right there.
I don't. It's a good pick. It really is. It's a really good pick. You've got two. I mean, David Legwand, kind of a little bit of a tweener, but you got your top center right now in Ryan Johansson.
Yep.
We all know that the Preds have struggled their entire franchise's history to get legitimate top centers. And I'm not saying this is necessarily a glowing assessment here, but Ryan Johansson's one of the best pure centers that's ever played for this franchise. I hate to say it. It's no knock on Ryan Johansson. It just goes to but
it's kind of a knock on the Preds organization, not gonna lie.
And I'm already looking at myself right now thinking, damn, I haven't picked a center yet, so I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the fourth round. Fourth round, we're opening it back up. Draft anyone left on the board still. You can draft any player that's ever played with the Predators. We're kind of opening it back up. So now I got to think about it some more.
I know, right?
I got to think about it some more. But you know what? I'm gonna go with some current times here, and since I get the player for his entire career, I'm going Steven Stamkos.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I guess that's fair. Those guys who just came on do technically count.
We're counting them for the whole body of work for what they did.
And this round is kind of tough because I just have a feeling that I'm going to look back on this and later on be like, man, there's someone I missed that could have been.
Well, yeah, of course, it's going to be tough. Yeah, we're both going to have that problem.
You know what though? I can't overthink this one. I got to go Shea Weber.
There you go.
I got both Yossi and Weber.
Oh,
I feel pretty good about that.
And I've got both Forsberg and Stamkos. So we both, we're taking different strategies right now.
Yeah. I'm kind of trying to think of like best, kind of not overthink it too much and kind of use a best player available strategy to some degree.
Oh, that blue line of Roman Yossi and Shea Weber. And you can you consider having them both in their primes.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, we're drafting these players based kind of like if they were in their primes. That's what I'm looking at it. So the fact that you got Roman Yossi and Shea Weber, I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I can rest pretty easy on that one, honestly.
Let's recap our lineups. We each picked 4 players. I got the first overall pick with the ceremonious coin flip. Heads did not do me wrong there. I got Philip Forsberg and Steven Stamkos on my wings. I got Kimmo Timonen, and I took Pecorine with the top overall pick. Have not drafted a center yet, which has got me a little in trouble because Max is he's taken one pure center. He can put David Legwand in his center role if he needs to or move him to wing. It's a good way when you pick a two-way player like that. But Max took with his first overall pick, he took Roman Yossi.
Yep.
He could choose any player on the board in the first round. He took Roman Yossi after I took Pecorine.
Yep.
Then he switched up from the expansion year and took David Legwand after I took Kimmo Timonen. And then he takes Ryan Johansson from the Stanley Cup year team. I chose Philip Forsberg. And then this past round, it was any player left on the board, no rules. I took Steven Stamkos, and Max took Shea Weber. So there's where we're at right now. Let's take a break from our ultimate all-time Preds draft, and let's get into one of the other topics that we need to get into tonight, and that is this GM search that keeps dragging on, that's going to change the trajectory of this franchise for a long time. It's a really big deal. I was watching some podcasts going into tonight to get ready for the episode. Was watching the Barn Burner podcast, had Darren Drager on there. And he was just kind of talking about how all these other teams have already taken care of this GM search, and you got the Predators just letting it go, dragging on. And the only reason, logical reason, obvious reason could be that they're waiting for these current teams to do their business in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Well, we're down to 3 teams now. You know, a lot of these reports were 2 days ago when the Avalanche were still hanging on by a thread. They get swept by Vegas.
Crazy.
Chris McFarland is rumored to be possibly getting a major promotion to lure him out of Colorado and into Nashville to get president of hockey operations along with the GM tag, which is what currently Barry Trotz has, that title. So, Max, how are you feeling about this? Are you feeling like there's some legs to this story? What could this do for the franchise if they could get a GM like Chris McFarland, which it speaks for itself, what he has done for Colorado,
right?
Despite getting swept in this conference finals, which is truly shocking.
Right.
Even with Cale Makar missing game one, that is still insanely shocking.
Insane.
So give me your whole thoughts on all this.
To kind of address the first part of this, the Preds potentially, waiting for candidates to become available. I honestly am starting to believe that's true. Like you said, there's really no other real logical reason the Preds would, let this drag on until now. And, we haven't heard, I guess we haven't heard anything today that there's like a formal interview or whatever, but, I am starting to think whether it's McFarland or whoever it is, I am believing that the Preds are, waiting for someone. And to be fair to the Preds, no one who absolutely they couldn't afford to miss has, been taken. So there's that aspect of it, at least, the way, and, and also you have to consider, another guy who he may not be available, for a long time too, but another guy who they were rumored to be in contact with was Darren York, I believe he was, and who's the AGM of the Hurricanes, I believe, and they're still playing right now. And basically the way, not to get too far ahead of myself with the whole McFarland thing, but I would think it's as close to a home run scenario as you could imagine, honestly. And, obviously what he did, for what he's done for the Avalanche speaks for itself. But, you think about it, even before he was GM, he's been there for a long time, a guy. And I wanted to kind of compare this to sort of what the Titans have done in the past year with their GM hire. And I want to give a shout out to the guys I watch on the Music City Audible podcast of the Titans, Justin Graver and Justin Mello, who they made a great point a few weeks ago, talk about Mike Borgonzi, how on the Titans, how he's a GM now. He was in Kansas City for a long time, back when they were awful, worst team in the league. And then he was there to see it through to now to just 2 years ago when they had essentially become the gold standard for NFL teams. And Chris McFarland, similar thing. He was down in Colorado and they were so bad. And then they rose to, again, kind of becoming that gold standard. I know recency bias might kind of think, oh, they're not the gold standard, but they still won a cup. They've been one of the best teams in the league for years. So you take everything I said about Mike Borgonzi, the only difference with McFarland is he's actually been a GM. He has, he has that, hands-on experience that Borgonzi didn't quite have. And I know Joe Sakic's really the head honcho still in Colorado, being the president of hockey ops. But, I mean, you talk about a guy who's seen it all, been there, done that. I mean, it's hard to think he doesn't check basically every box, honestly.
He does.
Yeah.
For sure. I think, and Elliot Friedman really makes this clear. The thing about it is McFarland is still under contract. Nashville will have to ask to seek permission from Colorado to speak with him. We should start seeing some stuff trickle out in the next couple of days now that Colorado's eliminated. So we'll get some clarity on this pretty soon here. It would be awesome to make this happen, for sure. I think it would be the new vision that this Preds franchise desperately needs. And I think, like you said, Max, this could really be the right guy to come in here and give this franchise the makeover and the rebuild it needs.
Yeah.
I think, everyone's worried that it's going to end up being Tom Fitzgerald, who continues to be out there as a candidate.
I kind of am starting to not believe it, really, because he's been on the market for so long. If they really wanted him that bad.
But I think that it's not that they want. Obviously, he's not their top choice. Obviously, their top choice has to be McFarland. That's why they've waited this long.
I guess you're right. Yeah.
But let's wait and see if McFarland is truly interested and he wants that promotion, or is he loyal to Colorado? And he looks at Nashville as too big of a gamble, too big of a. I don't want to get into that right now. I don't know. I think that one thing Nashville has going for them is their prospect pool, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Someone like McFarland could look at Nashville's prospect pool and be like, I can work with that. Not only the prospect pool, but also all of the draft picks. Yeah. And another thing they were talking about on the Barn Burner podcast was a couple of days ago was really getting into the draft capital and the Preds really needing to get this done before the draft.
They do.
Whoever your new GM is, no offense to Barry Trotz, but you need your new guy fully controlling what the Preds do in this upcoming draft. You can't have an outgoing GM. Again, no disrespect to Trotz, but you can't have an outgoing GM, a GM by name only, controlling such a pivotal draft for this franchise.
Yeah.
And being at the 10th overall pick with this draft class is not a bad thing.
No.
They're going to have, we'll do another episode when we get closer to the draft, really deep diving on some prospects here, because I really can't wait to get in on that. Probably going to try to get a guest on for that as well to really educate us on that. But that 10th overall pick is not a bad place to be sitting in. I know fans wish that they would have maybe not won so much this past year so they could have moved up further. I get that. But this is not a bad draft class. This is a very deep first-round draft class from all accounts that I'm getting. And there's going to be an opportunity to draft a really impactful prospect and build this prospect pool up even more at 10th overall. So we got to get that new GM now. And if it's not McFarland, Max, who's your plan B if it's not McFarland? That's a good question. I want to get your thoughts on that.
He's still, if his team weren't still playing, I'd probably say Darren York. If not Darren York, I'd probably say one of Scott White or Bill Scott.
Yeah,
probably my plan B.
I would still love Scott White with Dallas. Scott White's with Dallas, right?
Yeah, no,
that's who I
mix them up. I think Scott White's Dallas,
and that's who I originally wanted. But now that I'm seeing this stuff about McFarland, well, obviously I would love that. But one of those two for me. I'm hoping Scott White's the plan B. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. I got to feel like we're going to find something out very, very soon.
I would think so.
They can't drag this out much longer.
No.
All right. So there's that. There's our updated GM search right now for the Preds. As it drags on, but I do think we're getting close. Let's move on with our ultimate all-time draft right now. Again, I got Philip Forsberg, Steven Stamkos, Kimmo Timonen, and Pecorini at goalie. Max has yet to draft a goalie, but you know what? He's going to have his choice of UC Saros.
I'm chilling.
Probably UC Saros.
Yeah.
But he's got David Leg. You're not going to take David Riddick? Come on, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
Come on, he's still on the board, man. Take David Riddick.
Hey, don't disrespect my man, Scott Wedgwood.
All right. Fair enough. All right. So then we got David Legwand for Max, Ryan Johansson, Roman Josi, Shea Weber. If you're joining mid-episode right now, each round has a rule on who you can draft. So don't come at us in the comments if you're joining midstream and you're like, why would you, if you're just drafting straight up, why would you take David Legwand this early? We're follow along here. All right, 5th round is a lot more tricky. It's going to be really tricky for Max because he's already taken 2 defensemen.
It might have impacted my last pick, although not totally. I do think Shea Weber was my best option of the other players remaining.
So 5th round, we can only draft a defenseman.
Yep.
That's obviously still on the board.
Yep.
I've got to kind of do some research here because I've got a defenseman as well. I really don't want to take Ryan. I really don't want to take Ryan Suter. I really don't.
No,
even though I can do better. Yeah. Ryan Ellis is certainly up there.
Yep. He's a contender.
I got to think about this for a second. This is tough. See, it gets harder as you go along here. It really does. I think I'm gonna go PK Subban.
That's who I was going to go if you didn't.
Yeah, I'm going PK Subban. God, if you would have had Roman Yossi, Shea Weber, and PK Subban, I'm glad I stole him from you. But now you get Ryan Ellis, most likely,
That's
right?
exactly what I was going to go with, and part of the reason being is because I specifically remember that Yossi Ellis pairing was lights out.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that's a strategic move, partly right there.
So basically, Max is building the ultimate all-time Preds blue line with his lineup now.
That's the only way the Preds build their team. It's built right in the Preds.
He's got an excellent power play right now using his defensemen with Roman Yossi, Shea Weber, and Ryan Ellis. He's definitely got me beat on the blue line right now because I've got Chemo Teeman and PK Subban. Here's where I got Max beat still is he has yet to pick any big-time prolifically offensive wingers, so he's got to work there.
Yep.
All right. 6th round we go. Draft anyone left from 1998 to 2008.
Oh.
So I'm going to go back. We're using Hockey Reference for this. It's making it a lot easier where you can just go to Predators history and you can just kind of go. But this one's going to require a little bit more research because I've got to kind of So I'm going to give you time to think about it as well, Max. I've got to think about it for a second. So those years, 98 to 2008 was kind of the years when the Preds started to make the playoffs. It took them a few years, obviously, before it took them 2, 3, 4, 5. It took them their 6th season to make the playoffs. And then they lost in the first round they made the playoffs 5 times before actually getting past the first round. But that wasn't until 2010, 2011. So we're choosing between players who never, ever made it past the first round of the playoffs. They did make the playoffs a couple times. I am going to build my Max. My team is going to be really strong with our wingers. Okay. I'm going to go with none other than Hall of Famer Paul Kariya.
That's who I thought you were going to go with.
It's just too easy.
Yeah.
If I'm picking from that time frame and I get that player when he was at his peak. I mean, Phil Forsberg's not going to be a Hall of Famer, but I've got 2 Hall of Famers right now in Stamkos and Kariya. We can debate on whether Pekka Rinne will ever be a Hall of Famer. He's not. I hate to break it to you guys. Pekka Rinne will not be a Hall of Famer. It's hard for goalies.
It's hard. Will be though. So
it's really hard for goalies to go to the Hall of Fame without a Stanley Cup. Unfortunately, PK Subban. Do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
I mean, he won a Norris at least once, right?
I think he's probably a Hall of Famer.
He's close. He probably is. He probably is. I would think Roman Yossi is a Hall of Famer. I would say.
Yeah, you're right. PK Subban has 1 Norris Trophy.
Yeah.
13 years in the NHL. He was a major, larger than life character. He did a lot, obviously, his off the ice stuff, doing things for the Children's Hospital. I don't know. I feel like he's definitely a 50-50 on being a Hall of Famer.
Do you think that Roman Yossi has a better chance of being in the Hall of Fame than Subban? They're probably pretty close, honestly.
I would think Roman Yossi should have a better chance. He's got more longevity. He's done more. He's put up more offense for sure.
I would say so too. I think so. I had to kind of check my bias there, honestly.
But they could both be Hall of Famers.
Yeah, no, for sure.
PK Subban 467 points. Roman Yossi 779 points. If PK Subban's a Hall of Famer, then Roman Yossi is a no doubt Hall of Famer.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so you take your pick.
As far as the next pick, honestly, is not at all a bad consolation prize. Be my next choice if it wasn't Kariya. And as a matter of fact, my first ever Preds jersey, Steve Sullivan.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah.
And you finally got your first winger on the board.
Yep, I got my first winger. That was it.
That's a cool little nugget. That was your first Preds jersey with Steve Sullivan?
First ever Preds jersey with Steve Sullivan.
And the thing about Steve Sullivan is really cool how he ended up with the Preds. He was like one of the first major big-time outsiders to come into the organization. He had already established himself when he joined the Preds. That was when they were finally starting to make their move to start making the playoffs and becoming a legitimate team. He joined the Preds in 2003, 2004 season, mid-season in his prime. He was 29 years old. Joined the Preds in 03-04 for 24 games, put up 30 points in those 24 games when he joined the Preds that year. And then there was the lockout year, came back to the Preds in 05-06 and was a 68-point scorer in 69 games. Those were the days when the Preds didn't have hardly any offensive talent. So Steve Sullivan was like the first, along with Paul Correa, was one of the first breaths of offensive fresh air for this franchise. And so a good pick there by Max. Steve Sullivan. There you go. All right, let's go. We are now moving on to the 7th round. 19 rounds. We're drafting a full all-time Preds lineup here using these rules. 7th round, draft anyone from 2009 to 2019.
Yep.
All right, so we're moving forward a decade here. I got to go back. That puts the Stanley Cup season back in play.
Sure does.
Which is probably going to be my starting point. So let me go to that season first. Look at that team again, refresh my memory. See if there's anyone I overlooked that. Do I take Mike Fisher? Nah, not this early.
Consider him.
The more I look at that team, the more I realize that team was more the product of the sum of their parts more than they were star power. I mean, they were the ultimate. They were a blue-collar team for the most part. They had a great blue line. Awesome blue line. Great goaltending. Great goaltending, but they didn't have a lot of like superstar talent necessarily, which is just insane to think about, honestly. Let's go. I want to look at that President's Trophy team that scored 117 points. Went 53 wins.
Much difference.
53 wins, 18 losses, 11 overtime losses. And they freaking lost in the second round in 7 games to Winnipeg. Oh, my gosh. My heart still breaks over that one. Phil Forsberg's already off the board. PK Subban's already off the board. Ryan Johansson's already off the board. Roman Josi. I'm like, the draft is getting harder and harder right now.
Yeah, Ryan Ellis is also off the board.
Yep. I don't see anyone that I really want to take this early. I mean, you've got Victor Arvidsson still hanging around right now, but yep. I'm already so heavy on wingers right now that I've really got to get me a center. I think I got to take Mike Fisher. I
was considering him too. I wouldn't ideally, but it's one of those where you really can't have too many centers.
Well, especially considering this franchise. I mean, it's not like there's an embarrassment of riches for me to choose from.
Right.
So I'm kind of like backed into a corner right now that's who you already took Ryan Johansson.
Yep.
So I think that's what I'm going with. I got to go with Mike Fisher as my first center, my first true center that I've taken so far.
All right.
So Mike Fisher's off the board.
I think I'm going to throw you for a loop with my next pick.
All right.
Do you want to take a guess as to who it might be?
Well, I'm looking at your roster, and you've only got one winger.
Mm-hmm.
You still got goalie open, but, I mean, you can take UC Saros whenever. I'm going to say Craig Smith.
No, I'm going to throw you for a loop here. I took Patrick Hornquist.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a good one. You went a little bit further back.
I just remember from those when he was on the Preds those days, and this was before I really, really was into hockey. Like before I knew like the true ins and outs of it. I was kind of just watching as a fan, but I just could always remember Patrick Hornquist he was a bulldog, always in front of net, always getting under the opponent's skin without really truly being dirty. He was just always giving the opponent a hard time, always being that guy who found the fine line between being tough and hard to play against, but also not being truly dirty. That guy right there, I think that's kind of guy. While he doesn't have the most skill in the world, that's kind of guy who makes your team better by just again being hard to play against, and that's why I took Patrick Hornquist.
That's a really good one there. I want to pull up the Nashville Predators all-time scoring list real quick and see where Patrick Hornfist is a very underrated all-time player for this franchise, honestly. So Patrick Hornfist, let's see goals for this franchise. I'm going to put it on the screen so everyone can see it. But Patrick Hornfist for sure is a good pick by you. I'm going to get it on the screen here. We're going to pull up the all-time goals leader list for this franchise. And there it is. And as I read through it, Patrick Hornfist is 11th all-time. He wasn't here that long, only 363 games with the franchise, 106 goals, but he was definitely a player who would score. I remember him scoring very clutch goals. He was the type of player who would score the greasy goals. He would get down close in the net, near the crease, get in the goalie's grill. Definitely a player you want on your team. So that's a good pick there. Just refresh everyone's memory. Phil Forsberg, all-time leader in goals, 358 goals. A very healthy lead over David Legwand.
Yep.
And as we look at the goals list, we can give everyone an idea of who's off the board based on the goals list and where our teams are at right now as we are through 7 rounds. Phil Forsberg off the board. I took him. Max took David Legwand. Max took Roman Josi. Max took Shea Weber. Max has 3 of the top 4 all-time goals leaders for the franchise on his team. Interesting little nugget there. Mart Erat is still on the board. Craig Smith is still on the board. Victor Arvidsson is still on the board. So we still do have some top 10 all-time goal scorers for the franchise that are still on the board.
Yep.
So we'll keep that in mind there. But as we roll along here with our draft, let's go. We'll do one more round, and then we'll get to our next topic we want to talk about. Let's see. So now we're in the 8th round. Draft anyone left from last year's team. Oh.
By last year, you mean the one that just ended?
Yes, this past season that just happened.
Cool. Yes.
Yes. All right. Let me. I gotta look at their team again.
I'm down to a plan A and a plan B here.
All right.
You know what?
I'm gonna remove that off the screen real quick.
Actually, my plan B is changing, but it's still a good option. Although now
All right. I'm still well, this really changes everything because now we're having to take players who maybe haven't even built themselves a career yet because that's how young this team was very unproven last year.
There's
a lot of them were. But since it's my pick and I know what I need with my team right now, I'm taking Ryan O'Reilly.
Thought you would, and that was my plan A, but I got a plan B.
I needed another center really bad. I'm trying to match your centers right now. And so I couldn't let you take Ryan O'Reilly. I
don't blame you there. That's who I would have taken if he was available, but he's not.
All right, you're up.
Because also we're talking, he hasn't had a long career with the Preds, but because we're talking their whole careers, I got to go Jonathan Marchessault.
All right.
Yep. I thought about Luke Evangelista here.
We are talking about their entire careers. So
because honestly, Luke Evangelista was one of the better players on the Preds last year, but we're talking whole careers, and it's hard to argue with Marchessault's resume. He's won a Conn Smythe, playoff warrior. I thought I had to go that. And plus, I'm still trying to fill my wingers, so that makes sense.
Yep. That's a good one. All right, so that was a really tricky round there. 8th round was tricky because we had to draft someone from last year's team, and we're trying to draft the ultimate all-time Preds lineup. But you know what? we had to pick someone from last year's team, which definitely showed some modest progress compared to the year before. At least I didn't make us pick someone from the 68-point team. But that would have been messed up. But UC Sorrow still on the board this late in the draft is pretty crazy. But Max can wait. Yeah. He knows. If Jordan was involved in our draft and it was a 3-person draft, it'd be a lot more.
It might be a little different there.
Because you'd be worrying about Jordan maybe taking UC Sorrows from you.
If Jordan were here, I would have been a lot more inclined to take one of those goaltenders from the expansion year.
Yep. All right. So we're 8 rounds through. We're about halfway through, a little under halfway through our lineup. Me and Max have both taken centers. Max kind of has only one true center. We'll see what he does. He has to kind of strategize a little bit on that.
Yeah, I'm trying to the point where it's been a while since I took a real center.
I've got 2 true centers. I got Mike Fisher and Ryan O'Reilly. I've got Philip Forsberg, Steven Stamkos, and Paul Kariya on my wings. And I've got Kimmo Timonen and PK Subban as my 2 defensemen so far. And with my first overall pick, I took Pekka Rinne. Max has got David Legwand, Ryan Johansson. For his wingers, he's got Steve Sullivan and Jonathan Marchessault. And he has completely stacked his blue line with Roman Josi, Shea Weber, and Ryan Ellis.
Also throw Patrick Hornquist my wingers.
Oh, I didn't write that down. Good catch.
Thanks.
I missed one. Good catch. All right, let's move to our next topic. But before I do that, I do want to get in our DraftKings read. So let me get to that real quick as I tell you about our current offer with our DraftKings sponsorship. The Stanley Cup playoffs are here. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has a new customer offer. When the ice gets coldest, the best players in the world show you exactly who they are. First of all, I'm loving that the Toronto Maple Leafs fan base keeps getting trolled. They get to watch Mitch Marner go to the Stanley Cup.
That's the one consolation prize for Vegas potentially winning it all.
That fan base can't catch a break, I swear. They're just like, no matter what happens, they're just always just catching it. Like, it's just, I mean, to watch Mitch Marner, who got ran out of town with pitchforks, and now he gets to play for Vegas and go to the Cup final.
And actually playing really well.
Yeah.
Like, Crazy. It's not like he's coasting along. He's one of their, he might win the Conn Smythe.
He might. So playoff warriors turn it up round by round, and DraftKings turns it up with them from the first round all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Bet player props, bet live, from the opening faceoff to the final horn. Every moment matters. New DraftKings customers bet just $5, and you'll get $100 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN so you're ready for the moment. That's code THPN. Turn $5 into $100 in bonus bets instantly in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org on behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas. Wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer. Copyright 2026 NHL. All rights reserved. Our next topic for tonight, as we take a break from our all-time Ultimate Preds draft, is the Preds prospects that we are most excited about, and most importantly, giving some love to Yegor Surin and what he is doing right now or what he just accomplished in the KHL, back-to-back champion in that league. He is proving to be a clutch performer, and we are just patiently waiting for him to get to the NHL. And I get really nervous with KHL prospects just because it just always like doesn't seem as clear of a path as when they're coming up through to the traditional ranks of the AHL and then you come up to the NHL. Yegor Surin should be at development camp this summer. I can't wait to see how he looks with another development camp over here in North America. He's got 1 year left on his KHL contract. I'm totally cool. I'm kind of glad that he has 1 more year left on his KHL contract. That'll give him another year in such a challenging league to really build his resume even stronger. And then imagine, Max, when he finally does get ready to come over to the NHL, I don't see why. I don't even see him stopping in the AHL with Milwaukee.
No,
He's coming straight to the Preds at that point.
you would think so. And I was actually texting last night our good buddy Sean, or as people refer to him, mediocre Midwest edge. I hate that he says mediocre. He's great. What are we talking about?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Either way, we were talking last night, and I had totally had forgotten to account for the whole KHL contract thing. That whole situation is crazy. Thinking, oh, we might see him next year. Then he reminded me, of course, his KHL contract has 1 more year left, so he's gonna be there for another year. But yeah, we were talking about it too. Like Sean even made a joke. He was like, he won't even be in Milwaukee long enough to go visit a Culver's or whatever it is there.
That's good. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm with you. Like with all the experience there, and but I don't see why he would even. I mean, maybe just for a few games just to get his legs under him with the North American game. But yeah, nothing more than a short little stint. I agree with you largely.
I think what it's looking like is best case scenario. He plays 1 more year in the KHL, really starts just building his game even more, building that confidence. He's already got extremely great confidence for being a 19-year-old. I mean, the amount of experience he's gaining in that league is just, you can't really replicate that compared to a prospect who's playing in the junior ranks right now, or playing even in the AHL, to be quite honest. So, I mean, the amount of experience and just game reps that he's getting in the KHL right now for now 2 years is just, you can't really replicate that. So I'm super excited about what I'm seeing from him. I like his clutch gene that he's showing. I like how he plays as such a young player. His confidence is just, it's going to serve him so well when he gets over here. He's going to come in immediately and command the room, be a strong force on the ice. And how perfect, Max, you can imagine this. If the Preds truly do get ready to go through this rebuild, and yes, we understand that it's going to probably take at minimum 2 to 3 years before we can even start thinking about playoffs again, probably. Right. If they really truly embrace a rebuild with the new GM and everything. But imagine how perfect it can be to bring Yegor Surin in during that time of rebuild, and he can come in and just kind of fill his way in. At that point, hopefully Tanner Mollendike's moving in, Brady Martin's moving in. You've got Riker Lee. You've got, of course, some of the guys that have already played Preds games already.
Don't forget Cameron Reed.
I mean, their prospect pool is truly something that we've got to look forward to right now. Yeah. So Max already kind of brought up some names, but who are some other? First of all, I want to answer the question: do we think Yegor Surin has surged himself as the top prospect in this pool right now? And I'm only comparing him to players who haven't played an NHL game yet.
So Brady Martin wouldn't be eligible since he's technically played.
No, I think we can still include him.
That's probably, and granted, I'm not an expert on the prospects. I've said that many times on this show. But because Brady Martin being a 5th overall pick, it's kind of hard to overlook that.
I don't know, man. I don't know, dude.
I mean, I do think
I'm more excited about Yegor Surin than I am Brady Martin right now. I will say, that's no offense. I'm not, no disrespect to Brady Martin. I still like a lot of what Brady Martin stands for. I think he's a tough SOB. I think he's going to be just fine. What scares me about Brady Martin is I'm not entirely sold on the fact that he's going to be a bona fide top line player. I think he can end up being a really quality, like, middle 6 guy, but when he drafts someone 5th overall, that shouldn't be their ceiling. I think So that's just I'm very cautious about that right now. But Yegor Surin, what he's doing in the KHL right now at such a young age, do we think Brady Martin could be putting up the same numbers that Yegor Surin's putting up in the KHL right now? I'm not so sure about that.
I will say this, and it would take a lot to go right for this to really pan out. But if it did, a center lineup of Brady Martin, Matthew Wood, and Yegor Surin, that could go hard. And I don't see, and I'll say this, I don't see any of those players ever being like on the tier, of course, of like a top flight guy. Of course, nothing like McDavid or anything like near that. But I could see them being close to like a Jack, one of those, maybe both of them, some more of them being close to like a Jack Eichel type. And if you have multiple guys like that through your center depth, that's a good part of what a contending team does. I mean, that could be really good going forward.
Yeah.
I mean, the promise that Matthew Wood showed this year. There's no reason. I mean, it's early, but based on what he showed, you absolutely believe he could become a top flight player at some point in his career.
Yeah. Another player we should definitely bring up that, and he, again, I guess I should have I guess I shouldn't have said they haven't played a Preds game yet. I guess I should have reworded it and said they haven't become a consistent mainstay in the lineup yet.
Yes.
Because I want to include Joakim Kimmel as well in this. Yeah. I think we should all be super excited about his possibility. I think he deserves to be in that conversation. I think we're about to really see Kimmel next season. If we're about to go through this really true rebuild transition phase, then Joakim Kimmel has to be very involved next year. So I think he's worth it, but this is just me, and it's not even really recency bias. If you would have asked me this question before Yegor Surin just scored 2 goals in the final of the KHL, I still would have probably it would have been a very good debate between Surin, Brady Martin, and Kimmel for me. And Tanner Molendyk has kind of plateaued a little bit. He hasn't really done a lot to surge his stock lately. So for me, Tanner Molendyk, I'm still really excited about Tanner Molendyk. I know the skills are there. I know the traits are there, but I'm just I've kind of cooled off a little bit.
I don't want to make excuses for Tanner Molendyk, but it's part of the reason why I wrote my article about Adam Wilsby the other day. What he's up against with how logjam the left side of the Preds defense is currently is not making it. I think it's also partly a matter of is there really room for him? Granted, he has played a lot on the right side, but I mean, the opportunity that he's been given to really crack the NHL has not been easy.
Yeah. So I want to put it on the screen real quick. Jordan, again, could not co-host with us tonight. He had some Wi-Fi issues, which I've been there before, so I know how that feels. So he was not able to join, but I do want to spotlight his article that he did write just recently on Predlines.
I'll say Jordan is killing it for Predlines these days.
He is
taking off.
He's doing a great job, and he's pumping out articles like an assembly line, man. He's not human. But but he wrote this article about Yegor Surin, 2 goals in the KHL championship, and just want to spotlight that article on our show right now. But 2-time KHL champion now, 19-year-old scored 2 goals in Game 6 of the KHL playoffs, helping his team win its 2nd straight cup there in the KHL. Ended the postseason. This is why I call him the clutch gene here. Surin ends the postseason with a career-high 8 points, 3 goals, 5 assists. As a 19-year-old, that might not sound that impressive, but when you think about him being a 19-year-old in a very, very difficult league, it's pretty damn impressive. So Surin drafted 22nd overall for everyone's refresher in 2024. So it's not like we're talking about a prospect that was drafted top 5 and had, but as Max was saying earlier, he was looked at as a steal at the time by a lot of people. I do remember that. But the thing about Surin is he's got an edge to him. That's going to, again, I keep saying this, that edge that he plays with and he's had for a while is going to really serve him well when he gets to the NHL. Because as we all know, when these prospects get into the NHL, a lot of times they get served a healthy dose of humble pie. They get pushed around. They get bullied. They get knocked around. I don't think Surin's going to have that problem.
Yeah, you never know.
and he's got the offensive skill set to back it up. That's what I like about him. I think he has a great opportunity to be a good two-way player in this league. So that's why for me, it's not just recency bias. He is now my most exciting Preds prospect that I have for me. I would say that for me, Kimmel's a close second, and I'd put Brady Martin a close third. I'm not out on Brady Martin. I'm not saying that. I don't have enough on him yet to just say I'm out on him. I'm obviously not out on him. But if you would have asked me this time last year, I probably would have had Tanner Mollendijk up here, or Joakim Kimmel, or fresh off of drafting Brady Martin. Maybe I would have put Brady Martin up there. But Yegor Surin just keeps climbing the ranks and keeps boosting his stock overseas in the KHL. And so I respect the KHL and how difficult of a league that is. And with how young of a player he still is, and he's doing what he's doing, that's kind of why he's become my most exciting prospect the Preds have right now.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. So there you have it there. Of course, we're going to have a fresh batch of prospects to talk about in just a month from now when the NHL draft happens. And so we'll see what the Preds do at 10th overall, but we will save that for another episode because now we have to get back to our ultimate all-time Preds draft.
And I don't know the rules from here. I don't know the rules from here.
Are you? Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. We stopped at the 8th round for you?
Yeah.
All right. So let's move to the 9th round. I've got them all on my phone here.
Okay.
The 9th round, our rule is draft any player left that was drafted in the first round by the Preds. And to be fair, to make sure Max knows I'm being fair, I did not do any pre-research on this. So I'm still having to scramble just like him right now.
Yep.
So, Max, I will help you. There's a place you can go to on Hockey Reference where when you go to the Predators history page, history line thing. That's what I'm about to do.
You broke up a little bit there. I'm sorry.
There should be a page where you can click on their draft.
Okay.
Go to the Predators history page on Hockey Reference and then click on the draft. There's a link you'll see. It says draft.
Yes.
And it'll show every draft of every year.
Predators history.
And it'll make it easy for you to see every first pick they've ever done.
I see. I'm there with you. Okay. We got to go back here because obviously I don't think there's.
I'm going to go from the beginning and work my way up. And Max already took the first round draft pick by the franchise, which was David Legwand. I'm definitely taking the 1999 first pick, which was Brian Finley. No offense to you, Brian Finley, but Scott Hartnell. Got to think about that one. Dan Hamhuis, Scotty Upshaw. No, thank you. Ryan Suter. Even though Ryan Suter is so hated, I don't know. Alexander Radulov, who we talked about earlier, and just won with Yegor Surin. Again, that's so insane that a player that the Preds drafted in 2004 just won a KHL championship with a Preds prospect, 19-year-old we just talked about. That's just crazy. All right, let me look here. There's been some really bad first-round picks.
There have
Preds.
been.
Oh, my God. Ryan Parent, Blake Jeffrey-on. No, Blake Jeffrey-on was second round. My bad. Jonathan Blum, Chet Pickard, Colin Wilson was a good one. Colin Wilson was good. Ryan Ellis is already off the board. Austin Watson was first round pick. Magnus. No, all right. Now I'm skipping. Oh, so the Preds had 2 years in a row where they didn't even have a first round pick.
Yep.
Seth Jones might be a possibility. Kevin Fiala. Kevin Fiala. My winger is already pretty stacked right now, but I might have to think about that one. Now we're getting up to more current times. Dave Fabro, Eli Tolvanen, Philip Tomasino, Yaroslav Askarov, Fedor Svechkov. Yeah, we're more current now. All right. I can't pick one of those guys because they haven't built enough of an NHL resume yet for me to take a chance.
Right.
Man, this is kind of a sad reminder of how much we've missed in the first round.
Yeah, I know it was.
Oh, my gosh. You already took Ryan Ellis.
Yep.
So that would have been my top pick if he was forward in this category. You know what? I'm taking Ryan Suter. I don't like the guy necessarily. He did Nashville so dirty, but I still got to pick the player. And I need another defenseman. This gives me 3 defensemen so far. My 3 defensemen still aren't as good as yours so far, but I had to pick somebody in this category. I'm taking Ryan Suter as my Preds pick based on first round picks in their history. Ryan Suter is my pick.
Gotcha. I went with one who, and I'll say I'm kind of overloading on this position, and I'll say his actual time with the Preds was not actually that good. And he was involved 1-for-1 in a trade for a player I have on this roster, Seth Jones. He's been really good since he left the Preds. And I'll tell you right now, my right side, Ryan Ellis, Shea Weber, and Seth Jones, I have an absolutely loaded right side of the defense.
You do. You really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Max has got Roman Josi, Shea Weber, Ryan Ellis, and Seth Jones as his 4 defensemen right now. I've only drafted 3 defensemen, and it's Kimmo Timonen, PK Subban, and Ryan Suter. I do think I have a leg up on him by having Philip Forsberg, Stamkos, and Paul Kariya, though.
I would have loved to take Forsberg and Kariya. I would have taken those guys if you didn't.
And I got Pecorine, which even if you take Saros, I'm taking Pecorine all day, twice on Sunday over UC Saros.
No question.
So right now, it's a very evenly matched lineups right now. We both got really strong points of our roster. All right, 10th round we go. Again, Max, I only revealed the first 8 rounds. Yep. But honestly, I don't even remember my rules anymore. I came up with all of this on the fly, honestly. So we're still kind of learning this as we go. 10th round, draft any player left on the board from 2020 to 2025. So basically,
real recent.
Let's just call 2020 to this past year.
Post-COVID, essentially.
Yes. Which those are some rough years. Those are some rough.
Yeah. No doubt.
All right. So let me get back to the overall Preds history here. I got to look at my lineup as well and see what my needs are.
Board here.
I've only, again, I just feel like, how am I going to find 2 more centers with this franchise that it's not had good centers their entire history? Oh my gosh. All right. Let me start with 2020. 2020-2021 team was a bad one. But that was when the COVID years. They finished 4th in the Central Division. They did go to the playoffs. They lost in the first round to the Carolina Hurricanes. Let me look at this team for a second. A lot of guys are already taken off the board. We still got, you know what? I'm about to throw you for a loop right now. You want to keep taking defensemen? I'm going to keep taking defensemen.
Okay.
I'm taking Matthias Ekholm.
Not a bad pick. I was very much considering him at some point, and I need more on the left side, so that's a really good pick. He would have not made it towards the end of he would have not made it to the end of this draft.
I mean, you're clearly building the ultimate blue line that the Preds have ever had. So I've got to at least try to save face right now.
Absolutely.
All right. So you can think about those COVID years, start looking through some of those rosters. You don't got to pick right away. There's no clock or anything. But while you're thinking about that, Matthias Ekholm, I feel like he's another very underrated player in this franchise's history. I don't think he gets nearly the flowers he deserves. Just a hard-nosed, lunch pail type of guy. It was really hard to see him go in that trade, which did cash the Tanner Molendyk extra first-round pick. Yeah. We'll see how that pans out. And that also brought in Reed Schaefer, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So, I mean, jury is still out on how that trade will work out for the Preds, obviously. It's going to take years from now to really know if we won that trade or not, because we got to see what Tanner Molendyk does. We got to see what Reed Schaefer does. And I thought he showed some good things last year. Definitely not a bust. but we'll see if he has the staying power in the NHL. But Matthias Ekholm is still a very quality defenseman in this league right now. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's my pick. Max, are you zeroing in on somebody yet?
I made my pick.
All right, what's your pick?
Polarizing figure, I would say, among the fans, but I personally liked him when he was here, and he clearly, even though he doesn't play for this team anymore, embodies a lot of what Nashville is about, and does enough to address my center depth. Matt Duchene.
You know what? I haven't even thought about Matt Duchene during this entire draft.
Yeah,
and I feel kind of ridiculous for not at least crossing my mind. And so you just got yourself another center.
Yep.
Very good pick by you, sir.
Sure
Very
did.
good pick.
The thing about this is, I mean, I don't want to talk negatively here, but my top two centers are going to be Ryan Johansson and Matt Duchene, and that's always going to be somewhat associated with the overrated centers that never really live up to contending for a cup like we wanted. But
you got to pick somebody in this.
You got to pick someone, and I think
this franchise's sad history of
it really
centers.
is.
But you know what? That gives us a chance to go back to that 21-22 team that just had insane offensive numbers. Even though the team only had 97 points, finished 5th in the Central, and again got swept in the first round to Colorado. But think about that year. Roman Josi.
A lot of that year.
Roman Josi had 96 points. Finished 2nd in the Norris voting to I think Makar, right?
Yes. Josi actually had more first place votes than Makar that year and still lost, which is crazy to me.
But Matt Duchene, that was the year that Matt Duchene and Philip Forsberg were going toe-to-toe for the leader in goals.
Yep.
Just trading goals. It was such a fun thing to watch down the stretch. But Duchene actually took that honor with 43 goals that year. And then, the whole buyout situation happened, which was pretty shocking.
Really sad to me.
And then he goes over to Dallas and continues to, play really good hockey. Yep. He's going to eventually slow down. He had 45 points in 57 games. So, age catches up to everyone. He's 35 now. So, but the guy is closing in on maybe 1,000 points for his career if he can stick around for a couple more seasons. Former 3rd overall pick by Colorado in 2009. We'll see how much longer he can stick around. I'm not entirely sure what his contract is with Dallas. I haven't.
He signed for a few years.
Okay. So we'll see. He could very well end up being 1,000-point scorer. So for all of his critics out there, and I know he's a polarizing player, like Max just said, and he definitely had some polarizing years with Nashville, but I put him in the same category as Stamkos, who also was polarizing his first year. But yeah, Duchene is one of the great players to ever come through this franchise.
Yep.
To pass through this franchise. Let's go to the 11th round. And again, we're open. These are the toughest rounds. The ones where we open up the floodgates and let you pick anyone.
Yep.
Anyone left.
Anyone left
in Preds history. You can
from this point forward. Anyone left?
Yep.
Oh.
Anyone left, past or present, it doesn't matter. As long as they haven't been chosen yet, you can pick them.
All right.
I think these are the hardest rounds, honestly, because
they really are.
You have a whole list. You have a whole franchise, 27 years worth of players to think about.
You really do. There's a few that we probably like that haven't been taken yet.
Oh, for sure. I'm kind of looking through here. I'm looking through some of these players, all-time greats for the franchise. I've still only got 2 centers, and it's just so crazy how
my wings are pretty rough right now.
Oh man, it's really getting tough for me when it comes to centers right now. Just because they just haven't had many. I'm going to actually take. I'm going to take Jason Arnott.
Interesting pick.
Who I think played center. He was definitely a centerman, and I need one. And I get him in his prime. I know that was a really wild card pick there, but I'm so worried about my center depth right now, and I just know there's not a lot of centers to choose from. So I'm going Jason Arnott as one of my centers.
I'm thinking this.
You can still take one more center, or actually two more centers, because you can move David Legwand to a wing.
Yeah, I'm zeroing in, but I'm just kind of doing my homework to make sure that partly because we're going full career. I mean, this guy's not been great. I mean, he's been a good player though, and he has throughout his career, and he has center to wing versatility. I'm going to say Mikhail Granlund.
All right. I'm going to put him down as a wing for you though.
That's what I'm doing as well.
He had a good career, very underrated.
Yeah. He's still playing.
Oh, yeah. He's doing good. He's doing fine. I think he was another player that, maybe didn't get the total respect he deserved when he was here. All right. 12th round we go. Draft any forward, center or wing. You can draft any forward still left. I'm going to take Martin Erat. I'm going old school with my team right now.
All right.
But I'm going to take Martin Erat. Martin Erat is another player who is really high up on the all-time list for Preds players, even with some of these players who have come through the ranks recently. Martin Erat was longevity, played with this franchise for a very long time, eventually left in the Philip Forsberg trade, which no one's mad about that.
Right.
But 11 years with the Preds. So the vast majority of his NHL career was with the Preds. 481 points in 723 games with the Preds. He was part of those early year teams that started to build something special in Nashville, made sure hockey stayed for good in Nashville. You needed players like, I know Pekka Rinne will always get the full crown, and deservedly so, for saving. Really, it's Pekka Rinne and Shea Weber that really saved hockey in Nashville during those years when attendance was down and they might get relocated. But let's give some love to Martin Erat through those years. He was a very constant, trusted, great player, great winger, a true winger. No doubt he was a winger. He wasn't a center at all. But some really good years. He was never a prolific superstar point scorer, nothing like that. Just a steady force, a good two-way player, great leader on the ice, good player you want in your franchise's locker room. So, we're getting deep in the draft here. So I went with Martin Erat.
All right. This next one might throw you for a loop, and there are probably better players on the board, but this is partly a strategic move because I have to shore up my center depth, and this guy did a lot of great things for the Preds, and as we talked about, was one of the key pieces that, at least for a game, led us to make the finals. Colton Sissons.
All right.
Yeah.
If you're shoring up your center depth, he's your center four.
Yeah.
Fourth line center, which is what he's always been good at.
Yep. And I could still get another center and move David Legwand to the wing.
You could. You've got flexibility there.
Yep. Absolutely.
Good one by you.
Yes, sir.
Colton Sissons, great penalty killer, great face-off guy.
Yep.
Another great locker room leader. Another player that was tough to see go. How's he doing with Vegas? Is he playing it? I mean,
yeah, he seems to be playing well.
I saw Cole Smith score the decisive goal,
the game-winning goal.
Yeah,
I am happy for Colton Sissons. I would somewhat have a soft spot for the Knights if the Colton Sissons won. I would be happy for him.
Oh, for sure, he deserves one.
Absolutely,
I think that's as long as because it's not like he left on bitter terms. We traded.
No, he got traded. It was not in his control whatsoever.
Exactly. All right, 13th round we go. This one's tough here. We're gonna have to think about this one, and then we'll take a break after this round and go to our next topic. I forgot I put this one in here. I don't know what I was thinking when I came up with this one.
Oh no!
Draft a player that was acquired only by free agency or a midseason trade.
Oh, Oh. Well, if I had known that, I could have just gotten it over with Mikhail Granlund. Ooh, I got a potentially good one. Ooh.
I got to think about this for a second.
Google's got to help me out here.
Hold on. Google's got it. Yeah, look it up. Yeah, you can definitely look it up and think about it. I'm just kind of going through and thinking about it right now. This also shrinks the list of players you can draft, like drastically.
Significantly, yeah.
So this could be off-season free agency. It could be a trade.
Yep.
They have to be acquired through those types of ways. They couldn't have been drafted by the team, basically. Right. That's really the rule there, is they couldn't have been drafted by the team. I mean, I'm looking right now just at their history and some of the guys that they've brought in over the years. And it's
the
I'm going to go. This isn't a electrifying pick here, but you know what? The choices are very thin. And if you come up with a player that I overlook here, it's going to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, same here.
But I'm going to go with Ryan McDonough.
That's not a bad pick. Well, but that was an off-season trade.
I said off-season.
I think it's a mid-season trade.
What? Okay. I guess I should have said like acquired through free agency or a trade.
Okay, well, if we're doing all trades, and
if we do mid-season trade, that's going to make it two.
No, I feel that. You know, my choice is not going to be popular among Preds fans, and I know that the signing really has not gone well. Really, I don't even know how much I blame him for, because if he was signed to be in the role I'm about to give him and for less money, I think we'd like it a lot better. And I need another guy on my left defense. I'm going to go Brady Shea.
All right.
He's had a good career generally. I know hasn't gone super well in Nashville, but again,
right.
If you sign him as a second pairing defenseman, $5-6 million a year, that would be much more reasonable for Brady.
And we're going off the totality of their careers, not just what they've done in a Preds uniform, to make it clear. All right. So we both went defenseman. Me and Max both have 5 defensemen now drafted.
Yep.
All right. So now we still have 1, 2, 3, 4.
McDonough's a good pick, though.
We still have 6 rounds to go to fill out our rosters.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 more rounds to go. So we'll end the episode with finishing out the draft. I want to talk also. Max wants to talk about, and I want to hear it. I want to get into it as well. Adam Wilsby, someone who doesn't get talked about as much. But we got to wonder, what is it going to look like for Adam Wilsby with this new rebuilding transition phase with such a logjam at defenseman? Max, kind of let us know what you're thinking about that.
Yeah, and I kind of alluded to it a few minutes ago, talking about particularly on the left side, there is such a logjam. You know, we talk about obviously Roman Josi, he can play on the right side a good bit of the time, but even beyond that, like I just talked about too, Brady Shea, whose contract really is not going to be movable anytime soon, if at all. Nick Hague, he's still here for 3 more years. Again, not a contract that I think a lot of teams are going to bite on. But even then, behind that, you know, Tanner Mollendijk, too, on the left side, hasn't played in the league yet. Neither has, what's his face? Cameron Reed, yeah. And, you know, think about all that. And, you know, with Wilsby's status as a player as he is, he's been decent, but he hasn't been great. He hasn't really popped off the TV enough to just make me think, oh, he's a guy you absolutely have to keep. I personally, and I know I'm kind of biased, this was my guy, but I thought I saw more from a guy like Nick Blankenberg than I saw from a guy like Wilsby. Probably the other really concerning part about Wilsby and again, there's maybe not any one criteria that, you know, makes it so that Wilsby be better off being traded, but his injury history, man. I mean, he missed over 30 games in 2024-25. had 3 stints being injured last year. One of them was a 10-game stint. And look, I know injuries are one of those things you really can't judge. We're obviously not doctors. We don't really know a ton there other than that he's been injured and it's been repeated. But there is such a thing as injury-prone players. And it's fair to think Adam Wilsby could be one of those guys. And, it's not like, obviously, again, hockey's a game where injuries are going to happen. You really can't control that much. But we haven't seen an injury for Adam Wilsby where it's like popped off, be like, yeah, that's just part of the game. It'll happen. Fluke play. All of Wilsby's injuries have been kind of mysterious or like nothing like that, or nothing at least that we saw that was that crazy, which those kind of injuries are the ones that can kind of make us think, as a player, is he just kind of injury prone? And given all the factors, and I don't think you're going to get a huge return for Wilsby by any means, but might now be a time when you could probably get a pick in the top 4 rounds while he's still seen as a guy who has some upside. Yeah. Might it be best, especially with a new GM coming in who didn't draft Adam Wilsby, might it be a thing where, it just makes more sense to get what you can from now? Because I'll be honest, I don't, it's not so much of how he's really played, but I just, due to all the circumstantial factors, really, I don't see him having a great future outlook here. I just don't.
Well, like the new GM's going to want to come in and make room for their own players.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you look at Wilsby's contract situation. He's signed for 1 more year at a standard contract too. He's not on an entry level contract anymore. Yeah, he'll be a restricted free agent after this coming up season, arbitration eligible. But you look at the left side, as Max was talking about, and you see Haig's going to be here for a while. Shea's going to be here for a while. Roman Yossi's already there. Those are your top 3 defensemen on the left side, without a doubt. I know you can move these guys around. They don't all purely play the left side, but I'm just going off of how they're listed. And then you go into the prospect pool and look at the defensemen. You're still waiting to see, as we talked about earlier, Tanner Molendyk. And then after that, though, you have to really go down even further into the prospect pool to, wonder what ends up happening.
They signed Viggo Gustafsson a little bit ago, and I know a ton about Viggo Gustafsson, but still, it's another guy who could potentially make an impact.
He could, for sure. 19 years old. They signed him for the next 3 years.
Was he a second rounder? I think.
I'm pulling up his Puckpedia right now. He is a third round 2024. So the draft that we took, Yegor Surin.
They're going to see what they're going to want to see what they have in him.
Yeah, we drafted him the year that we took Yegor Surin. I want to pull up. Let's see what he's doing these past seasons. Yeah, I haven't really followed him a lot either. I'm not a prospect expert either on these guys, but he did play 6 games with Milwaukee this past season, so he got his feet wet a little bit. So you figure you're going to see a big dose of him in with the Milwaukee Admirals next year. Played for Sweden internationally, and then he's played in the Swedish Hockey League, the SHL, a little bit. He's done a lot. He's gotten a lot of international action. That's really mainly where all of his action's been. So next season's going to be a big year to see what his stock looks like. So that's a new prospect to definitely keep an eye on. But when it comes to Adam Wilsby, for me, he's kind of in a make it or break it year coming up right now, for sure. And when it comes to, he's going to have to prove to this new GM really quick out of the gate that he's going to be playing for a tryout, basically, to this new GM that comes in. Yeah. Like, hey, you want to keep me around. You want to keep me around through your rebuild project, But he's 25. Wilsby's, I'm not saying he's old, but he's getting to that part of his early career. He's got to prove himself for sure. Yeah. And I like a lot of Adam Wilsby's game. I think he's got a good, fast game to him. I think he's got some offense to him. It just hasn't really produced at a high level. The injuries have definitely staggered him a lot.
And like I said, it's not so much due to how he's played. It's, again, partly, but also a lot of just circumstances around him, especially the injuries, which unfortunately he can't control. But tough reality of the game. It just is.
Yep. All right, good topic there. A player that we don't really talk about a lot, but definitely an important player going into the rebuild is Adam Wilsby. We'll see what happens there, but a player to definitely focus on. All right, let's round out our ultimate all-time Preds lineup draft here.
Right.
I'm being completely objective here. I actually think that Max's team slightly has me beat right now just because of his blue line is so strong.
Yeah, the blue line is really, I'll say though, and one area where I'm kind of jealous of your blue line, and I'm not saying I wouldn't have taken any of my guys, but I don't have like a guy who's a true stay-at-home defenseman. You got one in Ryan McDonough, so that's kind of one area of your blue line.
I honestly, going into tonight's draft, it's based on the rules here that were presented to us. I did not expect me on an all-time Preds lineup to draft Ryan McDonough. I'll be honest. No. But the rules pushed me that way.
Yes,
all right. The round 14, we're back to drafting only a player that played on last season's team.
All right.
And I'm looking at both of our lineups. We still have a lot of winger positions to fill. Me and you both do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to zero in on that right now. And this is going to be a really weird round because these are a lot of players that we don't even know what they're going to turn out to be. We're kind of drafting for the future, quite possibly, with some of these picks. I've already got Steven Stamkos, Ryan O'Reilly, and Philip Forsberg on my lineup. You've already taken Jonathan Marchessault from last year's lineup. You've already taken Brady Shea.
Yep.
You've already taken Roman Josi from last year's lineup. If I have to choose from last year's team, I guess I'm taking Luke Evangelista.
I think that's your best option. Honestly, he was probably going to be my pick for the last time we had this if I didn't remember Jonathan Marchessault. Honestly,
this is where me getting the first pick really has saved my butt in this one because I'm getting to pick first every round.
Yeah.
And it's putting you in a difficult position sometimes where you're having to take my leftovers. This is a tough round for you because you still have a defenseman spot left open if you want to fill out your defenseman pool. Or, you still got a lot of wingers and forwards to choose from here.
I'll tell you right now, it wasn't that difficult because right now the wait is over. UC Saros, come on down.
That's such a smart pick by you. I was hoping you didn't think about it. I was trying to talk you into taking a winger.
No, UC Saros at this point, he's like the guy at the draft right now with my team, basically like, when am I going to get that call? When am I going to get that call? I'm sitting there just waiting for the call. UC Saros, you're getting the call. You're on my team right now.
You're too smart for that. I thought I could outsmart you. But you know what? That is such a smart pick by you. Probably the smartest pick of this entire draft is you looking at your options, having to choose from last year's team only. Why would you not just go ahead and take UC Saros now? Great pick by you. Golf clap. That was good.
I have some pretty decent value picks this draft because I got Shea Weber in the third after taking Roman Josi, and I just got UC Saros in the 14th round with apparently the leftovers of last year's team. I'm kind of playing this thing pretty well, I got to say.
I think you are. All right. It's about to get even more difficult, Max.
Man.
I got creative with these rules.
Oh, I can't wait. And that was round 13, right?
14.
14, I'm sorry. Yes.
We've got 5 more rounds.
Yep.
All right. Draft only an American-born player that played for the Preds.
I think I know who you're going to take.
Well, I'm going to definitely think this one out a little bit, but I think you know who I'm going to take too. And honestly, the Preds haven't had a ton of American-born players that stood out in their history. But I do want to make sure I am not leaving anyone out, no stone unturned. So I am going to at least do my due diligence here.
American-born Preds plate.
I'm telling you right now, it is going to be a very slim list. And as I'm looking right now, there's
some better options than I thought. I'm not going to lie.
We've already taken some of them. Brady Shea's already gone.
Yep.
Seth Jones is already gone. Let's see here. Ryan Suter's already gone. David Legwand's already gone. I'm going to take Craig Smith.
That's who I thought you were going to take.
I have to. I mean, he's the first person that always jumps to my mind when I think American-born players that's played for the Preds.
That's a slam dunk for you.
And it's very slim pickings.
Yeah.
This is a tough round.
Did you already take Colin Wilson?
I did not.
That's one potentially thinking.
That's probably your pick, man. I'm telling you right now. I mean, you can take Cole Smith.
There's one other I'm debating.
I am looking at the all-time Preds list on Quant Hockey, and it does put their flags next to their names.
That's what I'm going off of right now.
Craig Smith is actually 7th all time in points on the Preds.
I'm debating. I could. You know what? I'm going to go with what I'm thinking, and I hate to pass on Colin Wilson at least right now because he is kind of one of those Preds legends, if you will, and he had some good playoff.
Where are you going with this?
I'm going to really shore up my center depth, and I'm going to take Nick Bonino.
Wow. So now you can move David Legwand to a wing?
I did.
All right. I'm going to make the change now. And so just for full transparency purposes, would you say that Ryan Johansson is your top center or Matt Duchene?
Yes, Joey's my top center.
So you got Joey, Duchene, probably Bonino as your third, and then Sissons as your fourth.
Yep.
All right. And David Legwand moves to a wing.
I don't have, obviously, and there's not really many to choose from. The Preds are, as an organization, are kind of slipping pickings when it comes to centers, but I have some pretty good center depth on my lineup.
You do, considering what you had to choose from.
And I also have Mikhail Granlund.
Yeah. You have some flexible guys who can play both.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move to the 16th round, and we're just going to basically just open it back up again to draft anyone left. So, I'm going to go back now, and a lot of these guys are falling off the board.
Yep.
In fact, the entire top 10 point scorers in Preds history are off the board as I'm looking at it right now. I've still got 2 more spots open at the wing, and I've still got a center spot I need to fill. So I got to think about that. I'm trying to remember.
Got some options in the queue.
I'm trying to remember. Scott Hartnell did not play center, right? That's going way too far back for me.
Didn't you take him anyway?
No, I haven't taken Scott Hartnell.
I thought you took Scott Hartnell. Okay.
I don't think he played.
Are you saying we're back to anybody?
No, he was a winger. Are you
saying anybody or just like any forward? I forgot.
No, anybody.
Anybody.
Yeah,
okay.
Anybody. Yeah, this is an open slate round again. I'm gonna take just because I'm really torn right now. I'm gonna take Victor Arvidsson. The fact that he's still on the board is crazy.
I'd probably go Victor Arvidsson.
I mean, I didn't expect him to stick around this long in the draft, so I'm gonna go ahead and just jump on that. So I'm looking at your lineup, Max. You've got 3 wing spots left, and you've got 1 defenseman spot left. I've got 1 defenseman spot left, 1 center spot left, and 1 winger spot left. So I have 1 of each position I still have to fill.
I'm thinking. I'm zeroing in. I just don't have it completely yet. You know, here, actually, one more check before I make officially the choice. You know, this is another interesting one. Partly because the dude could score and the dude also could hit pretty well. I'm going to go with James Neal.
There you go.
And what also makes this interesting about my list right now is I got I got Roman Yossi and Shea Weber, two guys I would have loved to have there. Then I got Seth Jones and Ryan Johansson, who were traded for each other. Now I also have Patrick Hornquist and James Neal, who were also traded for each other.
That's crazy that you've tied it all together that way.
That's insane. My list.
That is. Okay, so here's where when I came up with the rules, I didn't think quite through it. I don't think this would be fair to you at this point. But my 17th round rule was going to be draft only a true center that played for the Preds. But I want to scrap that rule because that's not fair to you.
That's gonna
so we got to come up with another rule. What do you have? Like, let's just come up with something. I mean, let's look at our current rosters to make it make sense. Yep. I've still got a center, a winger, and a defenseman left, and you have two wingers and a defenseman left.
Yep.
So I say that we draft another player from the Stanley Cup year.
Cool. Yeah, I guess when in doubt, that's probably your best bet.
That was just such a special season.
Yeah.
And we're starting to get to our depth of our team anyway.
Yep.
So let's go with that, and let me make my pick here. I can choose a center, I can choose a winger, I can choose a defenseman. So I've got an open slate here still. And unfortunately, I still got to get a center, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and get it out of the way now, if I can. You know what? It's not a great pick, but we're so deep in the draft. I'm going to go with Cal Yarncroke.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
And he was also a guy who could play both positions, but I'm going Cal Yarncroke.
So Victor Arvidsson's gone. Sorry.
Cal Yarncroke. No, you're good. You're good.
So I'm trying to think. Victor Arvidsson's gone. Johansson's gone. Forsberg, Yossi's gone. Mike Fisher's gone. James Neal. I just took James Neal. Man, we're getting to some slim pickings now.
You're scraping the bottom of the barrel, man.
I really am. Is Kevin Fiala gone?
No.
Come on down, my man.
There you go, Kevin Fiala.
Let me make extra sure really quick. Make sure I didn't overlook anybody.
Nah, I think with where your team's at right now, that's your best pick.
Yeah.
Unless you see a defenseman you want to get to, because you don't have a sixth defenseman yet.
I was thinking, and maybe I'm giving away strategy when it's not that serious. So I'll just say it.
It's not that serious.
Yeah. I was thinking partly to do a little bit of a play on my defense, because obviously we talk about guys who can kind of switch from side to side. Actually, no, I wouldn't have. Okay, I'll tell you what my plan was going to be. Alexander Carrier played two games for that Stanley Cup team, and I
could have technically taken him.
But where I'm actually overloaded is right defenseman, not left defenseman. So that wouldn't have made much sense anyway.
All right. I think Kevin Fiala is a great pick.
I think that's my best option there.
All right. Next round, 18th round. And this actually works out perfect with, and I didn't know this was going to work out this way, but it worked out great. My 18th round rule went back to drafting any defenseman in the history of the Preds. And we both need a defenseman right now. So This is great. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to the all-time lineup here. Actually, I'll go back to this. I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to go to – so I just went back to Quant Hockey, and I picked defenseman as the filter. So if you want to do that, Max, that'll probably help you out.
Exactly what I've done, yep.
And I'm looking through here. We've taken most of these guys at the top. And some of these guys I've never even heard of. I'll be totally honest. All right, my last defenseman. This is tough.
This is tough.
Because, I mean, it's getting to the point where I don't even know who some of these guys are.
I know.
Well, it's going to be really hard on you because should I?
I got an idea. So one of us take Lucas Pisa for our buddy Rich.
Oh. Well, you're the one that's gonna have to you're gonna have to fall on that sword because your defensive line is so strong as it is right now. Let me plug in my PC real quick for it, guys, to get us through this, to get us over the finish line here. All right. All right, I gotta make a pick here. I'm gonna go with, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna go with Jeremy Lazon.
All right, that's actually not bad.
I mean, dude, at this point, it's gotten to that point in the draft. I at least I got a wrecking ball.
Yep. Let me think here. I'm thinking of an option here that might throw some Preds fans for a loop, but I'm not decided yet. Give me a second.
I know you didn't watch the team back in those days, but Marek Zidlicki was an underrated defenseman.
That's who I thought of him, but he's a right defenseman, so
okay.
You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go with a guy who is gonna throw some Preds fans for a loop, but
Nick Blankenburg.
No, I'm not that crazy. And it's weird because he only played for the team for a handful of years, but he was a wrecking ball, and he was one of those guys who, smaller guy, never intimidated by anything. Francis Bouillon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I remember him.
Yes, sir. He was one of those Bulldogs who, again, always in your face and 5'8", but I believe he was, but you wouldn't have known it.
Francis Bouillon. A name you do not hear in Pred circles very often.
Nope.
Which makes this exercise so much fun. All right, last round, and the last round of our all-time Ultimate Preds draft is going to be totally looking towards the future. Right. And it's perfect because me and Max both only have to draft a winger.
Yep.
Me and Max in this final round, 19th round, we have to draft a current Preds prospect. Now, we can draft a guy who has maybe played one or two or a few games for the team, but definitely can't draft a player like Matthew Wood, who's already.
That's who I was going to wonder about.
No, let's try to keep it to players who have played like maybe 10 games or less.
Sure. Oh, yeah, okay.
If you get where I'm coming from.
Well, I'm telling you, that was what I was going to try and clarify. So you clarified that for me. So
yeah. So, all right. Let me think about this for a second. And you know what? I don't have to think about it because we already talked about it. Actually, no. Yegor Surin's a center. I can't take him.
You could. That would be fair. I guess it might be a true center though. So
that's what I'm saying. For the sake of this rule of the draft and where we have to pick, he's more of a center than a winger, so I don't think it's fair if I take him.
I hear you.
So I'm going to go ahead and take. At that point, I will go ahead and take Joachim Kimmel.
Fair enough. I'm trying to think.
Can't take Brady Martin, true center.
No.
Because all of your centers you have are true centers at this point, so you can't move them to the wing.
No, you're right. Honestly, I'm probably just gonna go with Riker Lee.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's my best option.
Or what about Aiden Fink too? He's another one that's.
Yeah,
I don't know a ton about him, but
I don't either. I was gonna hope to go Zach LaRue, but he's played more than a few games, and he'd be a perfect fourth line winger, though.
He wouldn't fall in that category, unfortunately, not anymore. Teddy Stiga could have been a possibility for you as well. But yeah, Riker Lee is really, his stock has definitely gone up. He doesn't have a contract with the team right now. But he'll eventually get signed. He is still super young. Let's see. He just finished World Juniors. He played for USA. 3 points in 5 games. He's playing for Michigan State University this past season. He put up 30 points in 35 games. So yeah, still very early in his journey. And then of course I took Joakim Kimmel because he is still definitely considered a prospect, even though he has made his NHL debut. He is definitely not done nearly enough yet to be graduated from prospects. I mean, 16. He's got 18 games under his belt, but only 16 games this past season. I don't think that he will still be considered a rookie next year, right? I'm pretty sure he will because he won't be.
I think you're right.
He wouldn't have, I think you got to reach 20 something games.
No, and I'm actually almost positive he'd be rookie because I remember 3 years ago it was now. It's hard to believe. Luke Evangelista, he came like literally the last day of February when he was like his first ever NHL action, and he still didn't do enough then to graduate from being clear being a rookie. He was a rookie the next year. So I'm almost positive you're right there, Chad.
And just to do an AI overview, just to make sure we are correct on this, it says an NHL, a player is considered a rookie if they have not played in more than 25 NHL games in any preceding single season and no more than 6 NHL games in each of any of the 2 preceding seasons.
Which he didn't. Yeah, Kimmel played 2 games only in his ever first, like he played 2. He came in 2024-25. He played 2 games right before the Four Nations break. It was actually,
and the player must be younger than 26 years old, which obviously he is. So I mean, he will definitely get his rookie campaign this coming up season.
Yep.
So that's why it was kind of a cheap shot to take him, honestly, from Max, because he didn't really have a lot of other choices to make at that winger spot.
I might have honestly just gone Riker Lee anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna round out this episode with a quick reading, and we're gonna put this on our social media. We're gonna put a poll out, let you guys vote on it. But let me read my all-time Preds lineup, then I'll read Max's. You guys get in the comments on YouTube and let us know which lineup you like more. My lineup, I'm going to take my top line center as definitely Mike Fisher. Then I got Ryan O'Reilly, Jason Arnott, and Calle Jarnkrok. My wingers, I got Philip Forsberg, Steven Stamkos, Paul Kariya, Martin Erat, Luke Evangelista, Craig Smith, Victor Arvidsson, and Joakim Kimmel. And my defensemen, I got Kimmo Timonen, PK Subban, Ryan Suter, Matthias Ekholm, Ryan McDonough, and Jeremy Lauzon. And for goalie, first overall pick of the draft was Pekka Rinne. Max's team, his top line center is Ryan Johansson.
Yep.
Second line, he took Matt Duchene. Then he's got Nick Bonino, who he took late in the draft. Very good steal. He also took Colton Sissons pretty late in the draft.
Yep.
For his wingers, he's got Steve Sullivan, Jonathan Marchessault, Patrick Hornqvist, Mikael Granlund, David Legwand, James Neal, Kevin Fiala, and for his prospect, which was the last round of the draft, he took Riker Lee, defenseman, which his line is so stacked. And if people are going to vote for your team, it's probably going to be because of your blue line. Roman Josi, he methodically drafted. Max's strategy was so great in the way he got his defenseman. Roman Josi, Shea Weber, Ryan Ellis, Seth Jones, Brady Shea, and Francis Bouillon. And he took UC Saros, what was like the 14th round, something like that?
Yeah, I think so. One thing I was going to ask you, and I don't know if you remember, honestly, and I'm kind of forgetting too, do you have a list of who was taken each round?
I don't, but I will go back and listen to the tape, and it won't take.
I guess that's what I'm thinking. Of course, I can go back and listen.
I should have done that. We got like halfway through it, and I wish I would have wrote down next to their names when they were drafted, but I did not do that. I should have. But we'll go back to the tape, and yeah, Max, that was a lot of fun, man. Awesome. Random idea I came up with. It really gives you insight on the history of this team and some of the greats that have come through. Also kind of gave us a little bit of an idea of the shortcomings, maybe. No offense to any of these players. They're all great players. But it does kind of illustrate the lack of true elite superstar talent that's come through this franchise. And I guess that's the reason why this team is yet to win a Stanley Cup when you really, really break it down and think about it. But still a lot of great players. Obviously, the blue line has always been a strong point for this franchise.
Yep.
Did we miss any topics? Let's see what happened here in the game real quick. Carolina wins.
Yeah. And I'm going to say about this series, really quickly, and I felt this way the whole time. This is proof how a long extended rest from games, like 2 weeks, especially in the playoffs, does not always benefit you. In fact, it really can hurt you because in game one, first period of that game with Carolina, they were so unbelievably out of sorts, just scrambled, uncharacteristic mistakes. Jacob Slavin, I think, was a -3± in that first period. Ever since then, they've had their legs back under them, and now they're up 3-1 in this series. They've not allowed Montreal to get many shots at all, and they're up 3-1. So I would think Carolina's going to close this out. If not Friday night, probably Sunday night back in Montreal.
And I think maybe Montreal is just finally their inexperience and youth is catching up to them maybe a little bit.
I dare also say kind of winning some series in game sevens where they really shouldn't have won.
Oh, and I can promise you that Tampa series took everything out of them. And then to their credit, they took out Buffalo. Yeah. I thought Buffalo was gonna probably win that series. But
again, in game 7 where they really shouldn't have won.
Yeah. But those were two really young teams going at it. And Carolina's proven that that maybe they can finally, they've been in this conversation to win a Stanley Cup for a while now.
Yeah.
So, real quick, no, we don't want to write off Montreal just yet, but if it does end up being Carolina and Vegas, who do you got?
I want to say Carolina. I got to go with Vegas.
You just think they got the magic going for them right now?
I think, and again, it came back to why in my bracket I originally picked Tampa Bay over Carolina in this round. RIP that one, but basically because when it comes to which team do I trust to get more from their best players, I got to trust Vegas more.
I'm with you there, man. I'm with you there too. It should be a really good series, but I do trust Vegas more. Yeah. I do think they have more of the just elite superstars.
Yeah.
And but you're looking at a potentially really good goalie matchup as well.
Yeah.
In that series.
Although I would give Vegas again the upper hand there by a bit.
Yeah.
Carter Hart's been dialed in these playoffs.
He has been. And I do give I give Vegas pretty much the edge on paper. But as we can say, I mean, RIP to my bracket too. I had Dallas and Tampa. So
both of us, man.
I mean, hey, it is what it is. It's tough. It's tough to predict. Yeah. That's why we love the Stanley Cup playoffs so much. Is they are unpredictable completely.
They are absolutely.
All right, so that is going to be episode 296 of Catfish and Ice. Got you a good 2-hour-long episode there.
It went a long time tonight.
It did. Imagine how much longer it would have went if Jordan would have been.
Oh God,
we'd still be drafting. We would have really got to the bottom of the barrel, Max. Imagine getting to round 17 with another player drafting their team.
Yeah, that's insane.
I would have been we would have been drafting Lucas Spiza. We would have been drafting Yannick Weber, and I'm just trying to think of the most random Preds names right now. I don't know. You know what's one player we didn't draft that is actually an all-time Preds great? He only played here for a short time.
Who?
Peter Forsberg.
Oh. Also, I think Colin Wilson went undrafted. I was considering him for a few rounds.
How did we not draft Peter Forsberg at any point?
Did you draft Colin Wilson, Chad?
No.
Yeah,
Colin Wilson did not get drafted. Let's
look he was a contender on more than a few rounds for me.
Okay, so real quick, we're going to get out of here, but let's name a few players real quick that didn't get drafted that were all-time greats for this franchise. JP Dumont, old school.
Yeah, I was considering him a few times.
Scott Walker was on the original expansion team. We weren't going to go that deep. Colin Wilson, Scott Hartnell is a big one that didn't get drafted. And now we're starting to get to players that we all drafted. Jordan Tutu.
Yeah.
Did you think about Jordan Tutu for a second?
Not really, honestly.
I didn't either. But still, I mean, and now we're really going deep. But those are the big ones for sure.
Joel Ward.
Joel Ward was a good one. And then it kind of stops there now that I get further down. I mean, Tanner Jeannot had a good run here for a short amount of time. But yeah, now that I'm getting
the late Greg Johnson.
Yeah, God rest his soul for sure.
Yeah,
but we get deeper into it now, and it's definitely like not much. We pretty much covered the top of the slate.
Yeah.
Past that, because now you're getting to guys that didn't even score 30 plus points. I'm getting further down the list. I thought you were going to take Tyson Berry there for a second when you were thinking.
No, he didn't quite make the cut. Although he does kind of have that right side versatility a little bit. So
we should have drafted head coaches.
I know, right?
I would have totally taken Peter.
Well, there haven't been a ton in this team's history, though.
Well, yeah, so. but if we would have picked, I would have taken Peter Laviolette first.
Probably.
But anyway,
yeah.
But all right, so that was a really, really fun one. We'll wait another 27 years and do another one.
Yep.
All right. Everyone have a great night. Appreciate you checking out this off-season edition of episode 296 of Catfish and Ice with Chad Minton, Max Greenberg. The next time we see you guys, we will be ready for the NHL draft, and we'll get you a draft episode out. Until then, have a great night, everybody. Take care. See you later.
See you guys.
All right.